gonna get myself inside. I'm gonna close all of my blinds. I'll read or write, I'm working, hope you'll finally leave my mind. But you're still dancing in the air, still feel your hands run through my hair. I try and occupy my mind, but I can't hide.
Hi friends, welcome back to another video of mine. If you guys are new here, my name is Rachelle. I am of course back with another book video. I don't know why, but for some reason I'm really in the mood to make a reading vlog. So of course this video will be a reading vlog. I actually wasn't sure what type of reading vlog I wanted to make, but then this random idea popped into my brain and I thought that was such a great idea for a reading vlog. So in this video I will be reading books based on their pretty covers. I just think choosing books to read based on whether or not I like the book cover and how pretty the cover is will be so fun. I also just think it would be such a random way to choose books, and it will definitely be a nice surprise to what I will be reading because my mood won't be controlling my reads. It's definitely gonna be so fun and I'm so excited for it. The first book I want to read in this reading vlog is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. This cover is absolutely stunning. I just love the nature feel, the background, and the pop of purple. It's so beautiful. I'm sure most of you guys know, but this is a very popular book on TikTok. It kind of blew up last year, and I'm not gonna lie, Book Talk actually made me buy this book. But anyway, everybody seems to love this book so much. Everybody's been giving it 5 stars. I'm so excited to start this book and form my own thoughts on it, and who knows, maybe I will find another 5-star read. Anyway, let's just jump right into this reading vlog and start with Powerless. Okay friends, I am now 150 pages into Powerless, and right from the beginning of this book, it reminds me of the Hunger Games. This book kind of divides the people into 2 groups. There are the elites and there are the ordinaries. The elites are people who possess special powers, and the ordinaries are those people who are just ordinary. They don't have any powers. And in this world, the ordinaries are banished from their kingdom and they are shunned by society. And no one knows this better than Peyton because she is an ordinary pretending to be an elite. She is pretending that she is a psychic to blend in with the elites so she's not killed for being an ordinary or banished from her kingdom. But when she happens to save Kai, who is one of the princes of Ilya, the kingdom she lives in, she is chosen to participate in the Purging Trials, which is of course a brutal competition that showcases the elite's power. And usually in the trials, the contestants fight till their death. Just like the Hunger Games, this book has a competition, and this competition is basically survival of the fittest, because these contestants are chosen to fight one another until there's only one of them left standing. Also, these trials are a form of entertainment for the people in their world to watch, just like how the Hunger Games is a competition show purely for the capital. But that's actually not the only similarity between the 2 books. A couple weeks before the trials, the contestants are taken into the palace where they will attend training sessions, balls, and interviews in hopes to win over the people watching because they need their vote to survive in the trials. This is so similar to when Katniss and Peeta were taken into the capital before the Hunger Games. The more I think of it now, Katniss and Peyton are actually so much alike because they both didn't come from money before the competition. So Peyton comes into this palace so foreign to having plenty of food, a warm bed, being clean and having a lot of clothes, and just living a very comfortable life. And in the Hunger Games, Katniss goes into the capital the same way. Yeah, so there are a lot of similarities between the 2 books, and I'm not really sure how I feel about that right now. I guess you can say I'm kind of neutral about the idea right now because it's not like I hate it, but I also don't love it. I don't know how the story will change as I keep reading, but I'm hoping that the story becomes a little bit more original. Also, I came to this book knowing that it's a romantasy, and now that I've read a good chunk of the book, I know the story falls into the enemies to lovers trope, and honestly, this is my favorite romance trope out there. I just love seeing the couple at each other's throats in the beginning of the story, and then as the story progresses, the hostility slowly transforms into love. I just love seeing those stories unfold. Plus, there's always great banter, and I'm enjoying all the little moments between Kai and Peyton. It is now the next day and I am 225 pages into this book, and I'm getting a sense that there is a love triangle between Pei, Kai, and Blair. Blair is actually another one of the contestants and she comes from the palace, so she has known Kai before the trials. But anyway, there is of course a lot of chemistry between Kai and Pei, but then there's Blair and she kind of ruins it because I get this feeling that she has a crush on Kai. But speaking about Blair though, I really don't like her. She just acts so privileged and honestly she's a real bully. I'm just so glad that Pei never takes what she says to heart. I will always love female main characters, especially when they got a backbone like Pei. One thing I'm noticing about this book though is that there is a lot of repetition in the writing. I just find that the story constantly keeps restating facts that we've already been told, and it's really starting to bug me a little bit. For example, we were told early on that the person who killed Pei's dad is Kai's father, who is the king of Ilya, and Kit, who is Kai's brother, just so happens to have the same eyes as their father. So every time the story mentions Pei looking into Kit's eyes, we are constantly reminded that she sees her father's murderer in his eyes. I think that mentioning that once or twice is enough and definitely a good reminder, but any more than that is just repetitive. Also, I think I might have misunderstood the trials earlier on. I think the goal of the trials is just to survive these challenges thrown your way, and death is a possible outcome if things go south. So in that sense, it makes the trials a little bit different than the Hunger Games. Where I'm at right now in the book though, the trials have actually started and I am so invested into the story. I found that the story was a little bit slow in the beginning, but once the trials started, the pacing of the story just picked up really fast. I am enjoying reading about all the action, and of course, I am slowly falling in love with Kai. He honestly might become another one of my book boyfriends. Let me just read you one of his thoughts about Peyton. This is on page 222. All I know is that I have this urge to protect her, be with her, tease her, touch her. It's terrifying. That is so clearly love right there. And then when you flip the page, he just keeps showing us why he's the perfect gentleman. Just to give you a little backstory, during this point in time, Pei and Kai run into each other during the trials, and Kai basically just takes care of Pei. Let me just read you this little paragraph in Kai's perspective for you guys. I busy myself around the small camp, and when I look back at Peyton from where I stroke the flames of the dying fire, her lids are drooping, eyelashes fluttering with the promise of sleep. Then I catch her shiver slightly in the brisk night breeze. Well, that just won't do. I kneel beside her, scooping her into my arms before pulling her off the ground and carrying her closer to the fire. Isn't he just so sweet? Like, oh my god. He is just so good to her. Hello friends, it's a new day and it's been a while since I last updated you guys. So I finished reading with the first trial, and if you haven't read this book yet, basically the first trial always happens inside this place called the Bowl, and the Bowl is this arena with seating around it for the audience. But this year the trials are different because Kai is competing in them. So this year's trials happen outside of the Bowl, and therefore the audience can't watch it live. They can only watch the condensed recording of the event, and when they watch it, the contestants are there too, and I just think that is so cruel. Like, these competitors lived it. Why would you force them to relive it by watching their trauma? That is just pure evil in my opinion. I haven't read about the second or third trial yet, so I don't know what happens next, but I can feel it. Something is brewing and it's about to go down, and I'm so excited to see where the story goes. This book also fits into the guy falls first romance trope. Kai is so obviously in love with Pei, and he's admitted to himself so many times that he likes Pei and he cares for her deeply. Meanwhile, Peyton still doesn't see that he's falling for her. She only notices the attraction between them, but she still hasn't admitted to herself that she likes Kai more than as a frenemy. I am just internally screaming because as the reader, the chemistry is so obvious and I just need them to get together like right now. But also I'm a little nervous for when Kai finds out that Pei is an ordinary. I really hope that doesn't ruin the connection between the two of them.
Lazy Sunday mornings, hiding under covers. I don't mind staying in with you. Play your favorite movie, laying right beside me. I don't mind when it's just us two. That corner coffee shop we like to go. Late night walks with you to take me home.
I just finished Powerless and I need the second book right now. There were a couple of twists and turns in the end that I didn't see coming, and I just need to know what happens next. When I started reading this book, I didn't love how similar it was to The Hunger Games. When two books are so similar, it bothers me because it makes the second book seem unoriginal, and I hate that feeling of reading something I feel like I've already read. But as I kept reading, I became more invested in the story and I started falling in love with the characters that I simply just didn't care that it was similar to the Hunger Games in some ways. That is what you call a really good book, when it makes you ignore the things you don't like about it. It was also just so refreshing to see a female main character in a fantasy who doesn't have special powers to make her strong. In almost every fantasy out there that features a strong, independent woman as their main character, the women are usually sassy and they have some sort of special power to make them strong, powerful, and badass characters. In this book though, Pei is sassy, but she has no special power. It is just her brain that makes her powerful, and I truly admire that. I am giving this book 4.25 stars. I love this book so much that yesterday I went out and bought the novella Powerful. I'm not gonna read this book just yet, but can we talk about how small this book is? Like, look at this comparison with the two books side by side. It's so small. Like, why? I really don't know why these books were published like this. Anyway though, let's move on to the next book I want to read in this vlog, and I decided that I'm gonna read Gilded Mountain by Kate Manning. This cover is absolutely stunning. I know this book isn't too popular. I've never seen this book on booktube or book talk. I was actually sent this book by Aardvark Book Club a while back ago. I'm pretty much gonna go into this book blind. I do know this book is a historical fiction, so I'm really hoping that I'll like it.
Slow down, hold on tight now. It's okay to meet me at the front line. I've got cold feet.
Hi guys, I am 70 pages into Gilded Mountain, and I'm deciding to DNF this book. I don't know if it's a soft DNF yet, as in I'll come back to it when I feel ready to read it, or if it's a final DNF and I just won't return to it ever. When I was reading this book, I just found that the writing was just not for me, and it was really hard to get into the story because of the writing. I don't know how to exactly describe the writing of this book, but I guess that I'll just say that it wasn't captivating. For example, every time the book mentioned a character, I would literally ask myself every time, who's that? Because I just couldn't remember all the characters. I couldn't remember who they were, what they did, and what their part in the story is. I just find that it's really hard to read a book when none of the characters just stick with you, you know? Not only was the writing of this book making it hard for me to grasp onto the story, but I also felt like this book was gonna put me in a reading slump, and I don't want that. This is actually my first DNF of the year. The next book I want to read is The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This is another historical fiction novel, and I've heard really good things about it, and I've also heard good things about the author. Anyway, let's just start reading this book.
Can't fly down on the Friday. I was meant to meet you at your mom's house, so I apologize.
Hi friends, I am now 140 pages into The Great Alone, and this story follows a family. Ernst is the father, Cora is the mother, and their daughter is Lenny. The family used to be happy and everything in their lives used to be okay until Ernst came back from the Vietnam War a changed man. When he came back from the war, there would be times where his trauma would get the best of him. He also couldn't keep a job, he was an alcoholic, and sometimes he would be very angry to the point that Lenny would be afraid of him. But then he finds himself the new owner of this piece of land in Alaska, and he thinks relocating to Alaska would be the fresh start he needs, and he honestly believes that things would be different, they would be back to normal again, and they would be happy as a family. Because Cora and Lenny love him, they follow him blindly to make this move, and when they first arrive in Alaska, it's not what they expected. The area they now live in is rural and it's very much isolated. All of them, including Lenny, who's only 13 years old, has to learn how to be handy so they can rebuild their property and grow their own crops, and also learn how to hunt for their own food. For Lenny, it's almost like she needs to learn how to be an adult. She doesn't really get much of a childhood anymore. But Ernst seems happier, and when he's happy, you know, of course, Lenny and Cora are happy. But something this family isn't prepared for are the winters in Alaska, and the community around them can't emphasize that enough. When I was reading this book, I was finding it a little bit hard to get into the story. It just felt a little bit too slow, and I was having a hard time picturing things. I don't know what changed because I don't really feel the same way anymore. I'm enjoying the book a little bit more now, but I still find it's a bit of a slower read for me. One thing I did want to talk to you guys about is Ernst. Right from the beginning of this book, I could already feel that something was about to go down. Although Ernst was happy when they made the move to Alaska, there would be moments where you could see his mood flicker, especially when his ego was hurt. It's almost like he was a ticking time bomb. And now where I'm at in the book, it's winter and he's slowly returning back to the same man he was before Alaska. He's got a bad temper, he's a little violent, and he's acting a little crazy. also Lenny is back to being scared of him. So I definitely think so far the character development was done really well. So I'm about to jump into the year of 1978, and we actually started the book in the year of 1974. So we did a 4-year time jump, and I actually don't know why. I mean, I expected there to be a time jump after what I just read, but I didn't expect it to be 4 years long. I honestly thought it was just gonna be a couple months. Anyway though, I need to tell you guys this because it is getting on my nerves. I really don't like Ernst. He is just the root of all the problems this family is having, and I think Cora should leave him, but she won't because she keeps telling herself that love is enough and love will heal him. And in my brain, I'm just thinking, yeah, that's not how it works. Honestly, Lenny is the smartest person in this family, and she's 13. Actually, no, she's 14 now. She's still a child, and it blows my mind that she has to take so much responsibility when she's only 14. I am now on page 338 of this book, and Lenny is now 17 years old. She's finally experiencing what it's like to be a normal teenager. She's catching feelings for a boy, but what's frustrating with the situation is that she can't even explore those feelings because her dad hates the boy's father, and of course by default he doesn't like the boy, and so he tells them to stay away from each other. I really hate how he's judging a child based on who their parent is. Like, being father and son, that relationship doesn't make you the same in any way. Hi guys, it's been a little while since I last updated you guys last. I'm actually away for work for a little bit of time right now, so I'm not home right now, but that's why I'm currently filming in a hotel room. Anyway, I did read more of this book. I've got about 100 pages left, and so much has happened. I'm actually just so shocked about some of the events that happened. Throughout this entire book, I was mainly feeling sad for Lenny and Cora, and then also frustrated and mad about Ernst. I'm not gonna give you guys spoilers, but there was finally a sliver of happiness and hope, and then everything just became so incredibly sad. There's just a lot of tragedy, and comparing this book with all the sad books I've read, the book A Little Life sits at the top being the most sad, and then I think this book might actually sit second after A Little Life. I really did not expect this book to be as sad as it is. Hello friends, it is a new day. It is currently nighttime. Don't mind my hair right now, it's currently wet. I just got out of the shower. But anyways, I am jumping in front of the camera for you guys right now because I finished The Great Alone by Kristen Hanna. This book had such a beautiful ending. I'm actually really glad that this book ended this way because this entire book was so incredibly sad. It really just needed the ending it had. I also liked the last half of the book more than I liked the first half. I don't think I can actually tell you guys why, because if I do, I'd be giving you guys spoilers, and I really don't want to do this. So all I'm gonna say is that I wasn't as frustrated and annoyed with the characters in the last half, so it just made the book more of an enjoyable read. Also, I feel like the plot towards the middle and end of the book actually pushed the narrative forward. Overall though, I enjoyed this book for the most part. Again, I just got annoyed with some of the characters, and the characters play a huge part in how much I like a book. So that's why I rated this book 3.75 stars. When I started this book though, I did not have a clue on how sad this book was going to be. Other than the description on the back of the book, I pretty much went into this book blind. But if you are interested in reading this book yourself, I would highly recommend you to search up the trigger warnings to see if this is something you want to read about. I'm going to end this reading vlog here though. In total, I finished reading 2 books and I DNF'd a book. I really hope you guys enjoyed this reading vlog. If you did, be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. I post a lot of book content, so if you're interested in that, definitely subscribe. It's practically free entertainment. And with that, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!
Pull the key out the ignition. Run your mouth but I never listen. You hold me back, will never last. Keep talking all your shit. Wondering how all this started. You left me broken hearted. You flip my words, yeah, this love hurts. Keep talking all your shit.